Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you, or good evening. It depends on the time you are receiving me at your home. Once again, you are welcome here on the Tribune of Awakening Consciousness. So, in the international news headlines, we are witnessing the fact that the so-called allies are starting to divide. Great Britain has just outright said no, stop to Emmanuel Macron. Yes, the British Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, who also wanted in a synergy of action to head to the United States of America with Macron to put pressure on Donald Trump so that Donald Trump might abandon the idea of continuing to negotiate with Russia. Keir Starmer, British Prime Minister who, with the Emmanuel Macron, has always wanted Europe to be present at the negotiation table regarding the situation in Ukraine. That's who Starmer is. Who, today, is outright challenging Emmanuel Macron's crazy idea. And this idea of Emmanuel Macron, we all know it. It's the idea of nuclearizing Europe in the name of Europe's so-called self-defense. Since President Donald Trump decided to somewhat abandon the support that America was providing to Europe, since Donald Trump expressed intentions to withdraw American troops from European soil, the question of Europe's security guarantee is on everyone's mind. Emmanuel Macron, who knows, presented himself, who stepped up as a true war leader, proposed the nuclearization of Europe. And we all know it. Donald Trump is opposed to nuclearization, to the proliferation of nuclear weapons. That's why we keep reminding everyone. Not more than 4 weeks ago, Donald Trump had called on China, on Russia, insisting that he wanted them to meet to discuss how to denuclearize their nuclear powers. So, despite all that, Emmanuel Macron proposed for Europe to move towards the frantic race for nuclear armament. Since France is a nuclear power, the first one on the European side, so Emmanuel Macron wanted and wants to lead a nuclear power on the European side. But it's an idea that is very frightening. Since elsewhere others have resorted to nuclear weapons, we know the consequences. You attempt to resort to nuclear weapons as in Israel, at least in Iran, we see the United States of America threatening Iran. Either you stop your nuclearization, or we intervene militarily to annihilate you and annihilate all your nuclear projects. Fortunately for Iran, Iran is strong in its partnership with Russia, China, and North Korea. So there's via video conference, a discussion took place. Thus, and the United Kingdom announced through the British Prime Minister that the United Kingdom does not support the idea of nuclear proliferation. Please share this video conference with me. Share it as much as possible in all groups. Yes, share it. The United Kingdom says it does not support the idea of nuclear proliferation in Europe. This is what the British Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, Emmanuel Macron's situational ally, says. So he is completely opposed to Emmanuel Macron's idea. And what needs to be said? He said this. He says, our position is that we will do everything in our power to prevent a greater availability of nuclear weapons. That's quite a statement, huh? It's Keir Starmer speaking. He says, our position is that we will do everything in our power to prevent a greater availability of nuclear weapons. This means that Britain is completely opposed to Macron's idea. And not only does she oppose, but she will not limit herself to her opposition. She will use all her power to prevent the proliferation of nuclear weapons. He continues, he says, "This is the clear and consistent position of our government." Here is Kate Starmer's statement during a press conference held following an online summit on Ukraine. As you can see in the image, it was an online summit. So, the path is already cleared. But on our side, the Europeans are still insisting. Sent a monitoring mission for the ceasefire agreement on the ground. An agreement that hasn't even been reached yet. Instead of letting Vladimir Putin accept the agreement, for Putin to sign the agreement and for him to continue, the other Europeans to imagine whatever they want, to make any kind of proposal, he refuses. They are already clearing out everything they want to do. However, as we said here, sending soldiers on the ground in Ukraine to, they say, monitor the ceasefire agreement, etc. This would be another form of provocation against Russia, and Russia will not help you to react. And if Russia reacts, they are capable of saying that Russia violated the ceasefire. This is one of the reasons why Vladimir Putin's Russia is delaying in its response regarding the famous 30-day peace agreement. It is calm. It wants to first observe the ins and outs. We are not going to drag Russia into a dance. We sign a memorandum of understanding on the ceasefire, and then, after the signing, they send NATO soldiers into the mouth of Russia. It can't work like that. And if it turns out that Russia has already signed the agreement, it would be difficult for Russia to backtrack. If Russia tries to backtrack, it will be considered as a country that does not keep its word. However, President Vladimir Zelensky, he said on all media that President Vladimir Putin does not keep his word. So here is the fait accompli. They want to present to Vladimir Putin. This is the situation they want to put him in. And the Kremlin boss, being clever, he says nothing. He observes first before deciding and signing. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, here is the headline of international news. Thank you for sharing it as much as possible in all possible groups. Thank you for giving a lot of likes. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and invite your friends to subscribe. Thank you to each and every one of you. I will be back shortly with more news. This was the voice of your one and only samurai.